Back on Inside Tennessee again at high noon on Tuesday. We'll see this legislative session kick off. Cameron Sexton, Speaker of the House, will lead it. Billy Steer.
Mr. Speaker, there's a question I feel like I have to ask you.
Uh-oh.
There's no doubt a large number of Tennesseans who believe Donald Trump won the 2020 presidential election. Do you believe Joe Biden was fairly elected, or do you believe the election was stolen?
I don't have enough data to say that the election was stolen. I think there's enough data to show that there were certain things with ballots and ballot harvesting that irregularities happen. Were they enough to sway an election? I'm not positive. I can't say that it is. Joe Biden's the president. I think even Donald Trump's family believes Joe Biden is president, if I read correctly. What we've done here in Tennessee is we're the #1 election integrity state in America right now. And we watch what happened in Pennsylvania with absentee ballots. And people make fake driver's license all the time. If they can make a fake driver's license, I think they can make a fake absentee ballot. I'm not saying they did, but it's possible. So we put a unique watermark on every absentee ballot now to make sure that if it comes back to us and it has the watermark, it's a real ballot. If it's not, then it's a forged ballot.
I want to move to marijuana in this state. We have just seen our neighbors in Kentucky talk about at least the invitation of medical marijuana. We're seeing marijuana, that issue all across the country, at least in the form of medical marijuana pass. I think more than half the states now have done that. Is that going to happen in the state of Tennessee under your watch?
I can only speak for the House side. On the House, we're pretty close to passing medical marijuana, as long as it's in the same forms as what medicine is. When you see legislation and they have all the gummies and the chocolates, that's not really medical. They're really trying to market towards recreational. I don't think I'll ever support recreational marijuana. You look at Colorado and other places and what is happening there with the youth and so forth, I don't think that's positive. But medical, there could be benefits to it. As long as it's in a medical form, we were close last year. I think we'll be close again this year.
And let's stick with young people, because juvenile crime is something you talked about in various stops before the legislative session. What are your concerns about juvenile crime, and how do you plan to address it?
Well, what you have is you have adults who are using juveniles because the sentencing is so lean to commit crimes. Carjackings are up, kidnappings, robberies, burglaries, all that's up. Juvenile crime's up. And so what we need to do a better job of a couple things. We need to do a better job of intervention with juveniles. We need to do a better job in schools of identifying kids who are at risk to join gangs and try to put in programs to help them not to join those gangs, or people who come from broken families. We know what it is and we can focus on it, but we need to do a lot of intervention programs. The other thing is right now all the DAs in the state, and in Shelby County we have a bigger issue, they have a discretion on whether or not they can charge that juvenile as an adult or as a juvenile. And if what we're going to look at this year is if you commit a violent crime, anything that's especially aggravated, a carjacking, volunteer manslaughter, we're going to say you have to charge them as an adult. You don't have the discretion to charge them as a juvenile. You have to get a handle. We want to help people not to get into that thing, but there has to be something there that holds them accountable if they do commit those crimes.
What about this case about cruel and unusual that was just handed down by the Supreme Court of the state, that 51 years for a juvenile is too much time? That is cruel and unusual. Do you believe that?
Well, I mean, if a juvenile kills somebody, is 51 years in prison too much? Right.
Here's one case in particular. I don't mean to interrupt you, but you're right. That's one thing. Another can be if you were the getaway driver or you were somehow linked to that crime, you didn't pull the trigger, you're still facing that 51 years.
I think that is too much. A 51-year sentence for someone who's driving a car who may not have known that they were driving the car because their friends didn't tell them they were going to go rob something. Mm-hmm. That's too stiff of a penalty. But that's where you need to have a judicial system where you try to help them get better, where they don't go down that road a second and a third time. What we have is juveniles who are committing 8 or 9 crimes before they ever get to a juvenile judge a lot of times in some parts of our state. We've got to do a better job of that. And so, yes, in those instances, if they're a getaway driver and they were driving, 51 years is a long time. Someone who shoots and kills somebody, I don't have a problem with that.
Is there anything new coming this year in the prison reform? I know it's been a priority of the governor's since he's been governor. Anything you all see in that regard?
I haven't had conversations with him yet on what his package looks like. I know what I would like to see happen in our prisons. Right now, the case in Shelby County, you had the individual who was in there who had 50 infractions. He had this numerous of years built up for good credit. He was in there with guns and doing everything else in there, assaulting people, and they never reduced any of his good credit at all. He still got out early, even when he was worst of the worst in prison. We want to go in and put together some type of board that will allow the parole board to work with the disciplinary board to say, if you're in prison and you have 51 infractions, you got to lose some of that good credit. Because if you're not losing the good credit and this month you're awful and this month you get it, what's the incentive to change? What's the incentive? He turned down programming, I think 36 times programming, and we still gave him good credit. As soon as he gets out, he kidnaps, rapes, and kills somebody.
Would it make sense to reopen Taft, you said?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I think when that was closed, I stood on the House floor to oppose it. When that was closed, we said the youth centers cannot hold the kids that will go at Taft.
That's why I asked the question.
And Taft served a purpose. Those kids, when they came out, they had a high school GED. They knew that they didn't want to go back to the community. They were looking for help. So we have to do better things like that. We need to have programs in place to help those kids to turn their lives back around. If you put them right back where they came from, they're just going to go into adult prison at some point.
Taft had a lot of work programs. They came out of there with the ability to have a job as well.
Well, they were held accountable.
Yeah.
30 seconds left, Mr. Speaker. Can you ever see yourself as governor of the state of Tennessee?
That's not the question. Can anybody else see that? Right? I mean, I think what
Good answer.
what I will say is I had a conversation with Governor Haslam, and this is what I always say is there's so many people who focus on what they want to do in the future, they forget that they have an opportunity to make a difference now. And I don't want to lose an opportunity to make a difference now because I think I want to do something later or may not want to do something later. I think there's a lot of people who misread what I do. I'll travel the state, I meet with people, I try to do things because I want Tennessee to be better. I do the job as Speaker how I think it should be done. Other speakers did it totally different than I did. But I want to do the job to the best of my ability. My parents raised me to do the job you're intended to do, and when you don't want to do it anymore, walk away and go do something else. So I'm going to do it to the best of my ability. People can read into it what they want to read into it. But right now, I'm going to be Speaker. I'm going to try to make a difference for Tennessee. I want to make sure that when people are moving here and when people live in Tennessee and when we die in Tennessee, they're proud to be Tennesseans.
Mr. Speaker, always a privilege to have you. Thanks very much. Best of luck this session.
Thank you.
Absolutely. We're back with our talk around right after this.